Okay, so I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to film, but I was thinking about it, and for those of you who come to Discoveries on a Friday, then normally we do baking with Sandra. So this is going to be an attempt at some baking for you. Hopefully you've got most of these ingredients at home and you can probably adapt otherwise if you haven't. But I thought we'd do something really simple that you might be able to then bake with your mummy, daddy, auntie, uncle, big sister, big brother, whoever it is that's looking after you. So, and I also thought it'd be rather nice if we did something that's healthy, that's going to give you energy so you don't have to go back for lots of different snacks. At school, we normally have scales, traditional scales that we can see when we've got equal measurements, but you may not have those at home. And here I'm going to use what's known as digital scales. So hopefully the grown-up who's looking after you can show you how to use those, but you can do all the other things of spooning and whisking and transferring, and any bits that require using the oven, you need to ask a grown-up to help you with that to make sure that you stay safe. It's really important that you stay safe, okay? All right, so today we are going to make some tasty flapjacks, and to start off with we need to use something called butter. And if you can remember where butter comes from, it comes from a cow. That's right, but I'm gonna make mine dairy free for my family. You don't have to, but you can if you want to, without doing product placement. At the moment, this butter is one hard lump. It's what we call a solid. And when we heat it, it changes its matter into something else where we'll be able to pour it. And that's when it goes from a solid into a liquid, a bit like chocolate. That does that too. Or ice cubes. When they're heated, they melt. So let's see how much we need. We're going to need 175 grams of this beautiful butter. And here I am, I'm going to spoon it out, and this is a job that you can easily do. Make sure you've washed your hands first of all, children, as well. I already have, but if you haven't, then pause the video, go and wash your hands, and then come on back. And you can pause it whenever you want to make sure you've got all the ingredients that you need as we go along. So here we go, 175 grams going in. That's 75. Let's see if we can make it to 175. Those are the numbers you're going to be looking for on your scales. I've got nice big numbers that I can see mine to help me out. Okay, that's 175, and we're going to put that into what's called a saucepan, because we need to heat the butter to turn it from a solid into a liquid so that we can pour it. At the moment it's great big lumps. Plop, in it goes. Then we're going to use this ingredient. You may or may not know what this is. It's a bit like what you might put on your cereals maybe in the morning, or maybe your grown-up has it in their cups of tea, except for this one is coloured brown, and it's called Demerara Sugar. It might be that you haven't got any Demerara Sugar at home, in which case I'll just use sugar that you've got, okay? Don't worry too much if you haven't got Demerara Sugar. And we're going to need 200 grams of Demerara Sugar, okay? So I'm going to weigh it out until I get the numbers 200. So we're looking for a 2 and then a 0 and a 0. I'm just going to go close so I can see the numbers, okay? Oh, 180, 90, 9. Oh, there we go. 200. Perfect. And that we're going to put in with our butter. Now, to make life a little bit easier, we're going to put the saucepan with the butter on the scales, because we're now going to weigh this one. Now this is thick and oozy. And I wonder, it's a bit like honey, which obviously comes from bees, if you can remember, honey comes from bees. If I can open it. It's a bit stuck. It's very, very sticky. And we're going to need 75 grams of this beautiful golden, now I'll give you a clue there, golden syrup. So down it goes, and we're going to look for the number 7 and a 5. So I'm on number 49, a 4 and a 9. Let's do a little bit more. 6 and a 3, 63. I feel as if I'm a bingo caller. Legs 11? No. Okay, let's see if we can ooze a little bit more down. 72, 72. You see the beautiful colour it is? It's gorgeous. Lovely golden colour. Maybe you've got that colour in some paint at home or felt tip pens. There we are, 75, 75. And I'm just going to put that back in there and it can ooze back into the tin. There we go. Now, in order for this to melt, we need to put it somewhere nice and warm, called the hob of your oven. But on this point, get a grown-up to help you, okay? Okay, so don't use a really hot, fierce heat when you're melting down that. Can you remember what's in the pan? Butter, sugar and golden syrup, because we don't want to burn the butter and we don't want to burn the sugar, because that wouldn't taste very nice. So just a really nice, low, gentle heat will be absolutely perfect. Okay? Right, the next bit that we need to do is we're going to use something called, that you might have in the morning, some porridge oats. Now, mine are gluten-free, but again, you don't have to use gluten-free porridge oats. They're ground down, obviously, from oats, and they look like this. Really, really yummy. And we're going to use those as the base of our flapjacks. And we need 275 grams. So we're looking for a number 2, a number 7, and a number 5 on our scales. 275. Okay, off we go. Must be very boring just looking at the top of my head. Sorry, children. Okay, we're on 143, so quite a bit of a way to go. Lots and lots and lots needed here. Of course, you can spoon yours out using a spoon instead, rather than pouring. Up to you. Okay, so we're on the magical numbers 225, but we want 275. Oh, nearly. I'm going to get out a spoon to help me in that last little bit because I don't want to go over. So, 269. 275. Perfect. I'll put the lid back on that. Keep those nice and fresh. And what we're going to do is you're going to find a mixing bowl and you're going to pour your porridge oats into the mixing bowl. Give it a little tap, make sure all the last bits are out. Now, the next bit, you can use any type, you don't have to actually use nuts, you could use something else instead. You could use roasted hazelnuts if you haven't got any nut allergy. You could use pistachios, you could use almonds, or you could use a mix of nuts. But what's important is that you grind them down in a special machine to make them into a nice powder. So I'm going to use 100 grams of hazelnuts because Annabel's daddy's favourite is hazelnuts. So here they are, they've been ground down from a little round nut. There we go. Exactly 100 grams left in the pot, so that was perfect. I need to do some more. And we're going to pour those in with our porridge. And to give them a really lovely flavour, we're going to add a spice. Now we use this one quite a lot at nursery, don't we? I don't know if you remember what it is. It normally looks like a stick, a brown stick. Goes really nice with apples if you're making apple crumble. And it's called cinnamon. And we need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. The special teaspoon won't fit in there. So I'm going to tap it out very carefully. You see it's a lovely brown powder. And we're going to sprinkle it in with the porridge and the hazelnuts. And then we can give it a little stir and mix all of that together. So then you're mixing all your hazelnuts and your porridge oats and your cinnamon all together to make this lovely, lovely, lovely mixture. But at the moment, look, it all sprinkles down. I can't get it to stick together. So that's not very good, is it? And we want this to be all sticking together. I wonder what we could use. I don't think we want to use glue, do we? That wouldn't be very tasty. Definitely don't want to add glue to that. Let's go and have a look to see how our butter is doing. That's looking fantastic. It's nearly there. Whilst that's getting ready, we're going to use another ingredient called, I was just checking how much we're going to need, figs. Now again, if you haven't got ready to eat figs at home, then you could use apricots, or you could use dried raisins, dates, prunes, any of your dried fruits that you've got at home. They're a really, really good source of lovely nutrients, and they're really nice to eat just as they are. Now we need 125 grams of these, so we're going to go to the number 1, 2, 5. I'm just going to pop those in there until hopefully I get, or thereabouts, 1, 2, 5. Doesn't matter if you want to go a bit over, that's absolutely fine. Now the trick of these is you might need a grown-up to help you, because you're going to need what these are called, scissors. And if we look at, if you have got figs, then they have, let's find one that would be a better example. What's called, where they used to be hanging on a tree, because that's more the shape they used to be, they have something called a stalk. And here's one there, you can see the stalk a little bit easier. Oh yeah. And we don't want to eat that bit because that would be a bit tough and nasty, okay? So we're going to make sure we chop our figs up, and we can hold it by the stalk. And it doesn't matter, they don't have to be any particular shape. Just make sure you don't cut your fingers, because nobody wants a bit of finger in with your flapjacks. So we're just going to chop them roughly into pieces. And I say, if you haven't got figs, then you could use raisins, you could use cranberries. Oh, there's the stalky bit. You can use dried blueberries would be very nice if you've got those. Plums, dates, any of those. If you don't fancy that, then leave them plain. But the idea is to try and create something that's going to give you lots of energy and keep you going until tea time. So you don't have to reach for other snacks. There we are. I'm going to hold it by the stalk again and snip, snip, snip. I've missed baking with you children at school on a Friday. So hopefully when we're all back, we'll be able to start that all off again, won't we? Only a couple more. There we are. one. And see how I'm holding it by the stalk, and that way it doesn't hurt my fingers. And you can eat these just as they are. You don't have to actually cook them. They're really tasty, just like that. And if you have a look, they've got these tiny, tiny, tiny little juicy seeds inside. And it's absolutely fine to eat those too. So don't worry about eating those bits. They're the tasty bit. Okay, let's have a look at this. So we can see that our butter and our sugar has all melted beautifully together. And we're going to turn the heat off because we don't want it to burn. And those last little bits of butter will actually just melt in. Can you see that? And what you can do is ask a grown-up to put your oven on nice and ready. You'll need it to the temperature of 106 degrees. So 160. So I'm going to take this over to the table. I'm going to stand it on something so it doesn't burn the table. And we're going to pour our figs into there. That's our figs now added to the butter and the sugar and the golden syrup. It's all in there together. Go back a little bit. Go back a little bit. Now, can you remember what we had in here? We had porridge oats and cinnamon, and I've done ground hazelnuts, but I say you can use any that you want to. And into there, we're going to pour in our butter, our sugar, our golden syrup, and our figs. And mix that all in there like that. And I'm just going to use what's called a spatula to make sure all the last bits are in, because we don't want to leave any of the goodies behind. Then here's some more stirring for you. We're going to stir that all together, and this is our glue. So rather than using anything like PVA that you might use for sticking collages, we're going to mix that all in beautifully. You see how it's all changing shape and how that butter had turned into a liquid because we'd heated it. It started off as a solid and then we gave it some nice bit of warmth, not too fierce, and it turned into a liquid, so we were able to pour it on top of the oats. And now that's all mixed and stirred together. And the next thing you're going to need is a tin, and this is about 30 centimetres by 23 centimetres. Needs to be quite deep, not too shallow like a Swiss roll tin, so a little bit deep. And I've just lined mine with greaseproof paper to help get it out. Let's tidy up a little bit for you. And what we're going to do is, now that's all mixed, we're going to spoon that into our tin. Oh, I can't do that yet. So children, I have to adapt what I can and can't do. So we'll do it this way. We're going to spoon it in. I'm going to use my spatula to help me out. And when we put these in the oven, you don't want to cook them, don't be fooled by thinking, oh, they're still a little bit soft at the end, because actually, a bit like biscuits, they'll firm up when they come out. So don't be fooled to overcook them. Otherwise, they'll be really hard to chew and we don't need any trips to the dentist. And they smell, I wish you could smell them, they smell really yummy. And I know these are going to help my children over the next few days to keep their energy levels up for their schoolwork that they're doing. And also for my husband, Nick, while he's busy working as well. It'd be nice as a mid-morning snack with a cup of tea or a glass of juice or a glass of water, whatever it is that you like to have. There we are, so that's all that's spooned in there. But at the moment, it's not looking, let's move those stalks. It's not looking too good, is it? We can't leave it looking like that, like the crater of a moon. So we're going to use what's called the back of a spoon. So not the bit where we load the food, but the back of the spoon. And we're just going to use it to press down onto the flapjack. So a bit like what you might do if you were playing in your sand pits. You might pat the sand down to make sand castles. You use your back of your spoon just to pat and squash it all into place. Make it all nice and level, so nice and smooth, without any sticky up bits. Let me just quickly pat that all down, all into the corners as well, children. Don't forget your corners. And then the next bit, we need to cook it. So we need to put it into that oven at the temperature of 160. But make sure that you get a grown-up to do that bit for you because ovens are hot, hot, hot. So there we are. That's all of that squashed down and in. And we can save that last little bit as well. Don't want to miss any bits. Use my spatula. I think that's good from what I can make out. And into the oven it goes. Now we're going to set the timer for 35 minutes, so a 3 and a 5. And then once that's cooked, we're going to take it out with some oven gloves, put it on a cooling rack tray, and then leave it for 10 minutes. And then just make little marks into the shape and size of your flapjacks you want, but don't cut all the way through, but just make little marks. Then when it's completely cooled, cut them up completely and enjoy them. And they should keep nice and fresh for at least a week in an airtight container. I hope you've enjoyed baking with Sandra, and maybe I'll do another one. I don't know. Wait and see. Take care.